So moving to Dubai was definitely a culture shock, as you have seen, like just showing up there. And that made me think of, how do I show up for me in this space? Yes, this is completely new, but like, what can I do? So in that, I did enjoy my time teaching in Dubai. However, my aunt had passed away that was really close to me. And during that time, I picked up a drinking habit, which was unbearable. Like I was drinking alcohol like it was water daily, and I hid it very well.
Welcome to Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards, the podcast dedicated to helping high performers unlock their true potential and cultivate a powerful mindset for success. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, a mindset coach and advocate for healthy high performance. Join me on this transformative journey as we delve into strategies, insights, and inspiring conversations with experts and thriving high performers. Get ready to master your mindset, elevate your performance, and create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back. I have such a special episode to share with you all. I am interviewing my dear friend, Briana Thomas, and we talk about her adventures of the world as a nomad traveler and the different places that she's lived and how that's taught her so much about herself and how that really derives where she maintains her healthy high performance and her rituals that really help ground her amidst all the chaos. So, who is Briana? She is an inspiring pleasure educator and empowerment advocate. Through her candid conversations, personalized coaching, and transformative workshops, she dedicates herself to guiding individuals towards embracing their unique desires while challenging societal taboos. She's here to help individuals liberate themselves from their own constraints, discover their personal paths to pleasure, and embrace a more joyful existence. This conversation is juicy for so many reasons, and we talk about all that goes into discovering yourself, your niche in entrepreneurship as your own boss, as your own leader, and maintaining the confidence to do so, amongst many other things. So, without further ado, I really hope you enjoy this conversation. Meet Briana. We had a wonderful conversation.
Oh man. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I am thrilled to talk with you today. Who am I? I'm an educator of sorts. I am a connoisseur of education. Right now, I am a pleasure educator.
Okay, I love that. I'm always about doing the scary things and pushing ourselves to the point of expansion. And expansion means that we are not contracting, which is normally what happens when we feel anxiousness or fear. We tend to get small. And our biggest growth, as you know, Bree, is when we expand. It's scary. It's sometimes unsettling, but it's the only way to get to new places in life. Right. So
Agreed.
let's talk about it. So, for those that don't know, Bree is also, would you consider yourself a nomad? You're a traveler. How would you consider that?
I would say I'm a child of the world. I am a nomad. America isn't home. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, can you tell us where you've been and lived within the last, like, I don't know, 5, 10 years?
All right. Within the last, let's say, 5 years, where I've been in Asia for the last 5 years. So I taught in Dubai for a few years, and then I decided to quit my job and move to Thailand. So that was a lot of fun. And I've been based in Thailand for the past 4 years.
Yeah, and now?
Oh, yeah. And now, keep forgetting. Now I am calling Colombia home.
So
So we'll see how
wonderful.
this goes. Yeah.
So beautiful. So beautiful. I think this is something separate, but it's a part of who you are. Even that is risky and ballsy and fearful, and you're doing it.
Yes, I've been hitting a lot of my fears head on, and once I started, I've just been like, I'm going to keep going. There's no going back from here.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. How has that been for you? to keep going, even though it's been maybe challenging, or getting that taste of what it likes to be pushed to the edge of your greatness
Mhm.
and then doing it over and over and over again? What's that like? What has that been like for you?
Honestly, it has not been a walk in the park. It has been quite a challenge because I am doing something that none of my family members can relate to. And a lot of my friends are doing the opposite of getting married and having kids, and I love that for them. However, I have found that during these times it has been difficult to get the support that I need with making these shifts. So rather than looking at it as like a challenge or a hindrance, I have been more so looking at it on how do I create my community?
Yeah.
Because my distance is going to constantly change. I don't know where I'll be next month, next year. However, the people around is what I need. So for me, it has been having to schedule in times to connect with people
Mhm.
from the States while also getting out there. When I, right now in Medellin, my goal is to learn Spanish and dance. So for example, I'm going out as a chance to network and learn and also build my community.
Yeah.
So it's constantly like in this state of being uncomfortable. How am I going to build?
Yeah. So another part of your beautiful beingness is that you're also highly spiritual, and we have that in common, and we love to talk about those kinds of things. And so I'm going to bring that into the conversation here today. And when you said that you are in constant need of community to support you because you're living a life that's so different. And so even though there's so much love with friends and family back at home, it's a different life, right? And what your soul and heart desire is something different. And I would imagine that on a spiritual level, I think the closer that you get to knowing what it is that you actually need and want and desire from life, the faster you can cultivate that and pull it in, no matter where you are, because you're constantly traveling. Would you
I would
say
definitely.
go for it?
I'm sorry. I'm just like, yeah, I felt that to the core. I would definitely agree with that. For example, when I go back to the States, and we've discussed this, I feel different. My nervous system is completely different. I eat differently. My mindset is in another place. And during those times, I have to sit with self. I am very spiritual. I make sure that I am first feeding myself. So, even in that, one thing that has helped me to remain calm or just like in a positive mindset are my routines. So, when I feel that my body is out of whack, I first look at what am I not doing for me? What is not working for me, and how can I find a space or how can I create a space that is going to allow me to regulate my nervous system, allow me to nourish myself and completely pour in. Like living abroad has definitely helped me with my relationship with self and spirit because I am definitely more in tune now that I have blocked out a lot of the clouds, a lot of the noise.
Yeah. Um, our beautiful friend Lindsay, who you introduced me to, I'm bringing her up
Mhm.
because she's the one who gave me my first look into the, I guess, common phrase or saying, but I've never heard it before. No matter where you go, there you are.
Mhm.
And so, such a profound statement, first and foremost. But as a traveler, you really get to fully encompass that phrase. No matter where you go, there you are. And so, I shared with you in an earlier conversation. Me and my family went on a vacation. Um, and as you know, and maybe my listeners know too, I have two small children, and they're babies, two under two. Um, and it was such a profound, expansive journey. The first 3 days that we went on a cruise. The first 3 days that we went on our ship, it was an adjustment. And we brought all these things that we thought we were going to need that we didn't really need. And little by little, the kids especially began to adjust. And I literally felt their expansiveness on the trip. It was like day 3, and we were getting the gist of things, and we went to dinner. And Mark, with my son, already expected this new ritual that is way different than what we do at home. And it was beautiful. I was like, that let's go. Like we're gonna enjoy the rest of the vacation for real, like even more now, because he's adjusted, we're adjusted, and we're having fun now. We're no longer settling. And I would imagine that for you, the more that you're doing that, the bandwidth or your resiliency, it gets stronger every single time. And because no matter where you go, there you are, I would imagine that anyone who's maybe not living like that, we have this facade or this fixed mindset way of thinking that this has to go like this and like this and like this. And if it doesn't, then we're kind of thrown off. And you have the gift of, well, I'm with me no matter where I go. And I get to cultivate my own homeostasis no matter where I go.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree with you with that, and very well said. Also, I love how they have grown in such a short time. Just the fact that you're able to see how they're evolving in a few days has been my journey now for years.
Years.
In the case that every single day, like every day for me is an adventure. I'm not going to get this day back. I don't know what it's going to bring. I can have a schedule. However, there are so many other factors that are just out of my control. So to that point, it's like, wow, I love me because I know I got me anywhere, everywhere, in any sense. And it's these constant, like, it has been a change of mindset. Like before, especially when I was teaching and in the classroom, you couldn't tell me to think about something outside of work. Like, I got kids, I have to do this, I need to do great. Like, that was my mind. Whereas now I am learning from all of the interactions. Like, my Spanish is subpar. However, I go to places where they're purposely talking to me in Spanish for hours so that I can get on with it. Like, okay, I am understanding this. I'm pushing myself beyond my own limiting beliefs. I'm saying that I don't know something when I do. So to that case, it's like I am not worrying. There was a point in time where I started to travel when I first moved to Dubai where I had a lot of guilt because I moved to Dubai where majority of my friends and family are still in a different environment. So even when I would call them to be like, I went to the Burj or I learned about the Emirati culture, they're like, huh? It wasn't a point of being able to relate. And then luckily, I had you come visit me in Dubai, and it was very refreshing to have my family see my new home, to really experience some of the things that I'm experiencing. And I feel very grateful for that trip because in that, you and I grew closer. Why? There were no limits. We were able to be fully present. Whereas, yes, we went to school together, we had all these things, but our interactions were very minimal because we are those high achievers. We are leaders. We're doing X, Y, and Z. So to have a moment to be home, I feel, is like having a moment to be within yourself and being 100% comfortable with others, and also being able to share these interactions with them and help them to expand. Because you're right, like the day you're surprised with how quickly we can adjust. For me now, I have my lovely one suitcase. I went from 7 to 5 to 1. And I even think when I lose something, like I was looking for a shirt earlier. I don't know where it is next. Why? It's not a big deal. I live completely different. I live way below my means because I realized I don't need nearly as much as I thought I did.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. You said so much that I want to just like kind of piggyback off of. Yes, when I went to go visit you in Dubai, you also, that trip alone, it was, I mean, it's Dubai. It was something completely different than I had ever experienced in my life. The culture, the temperature, the environment, like everything was just so different. And as different as it was, I can close my eyes, and as you were talking, I pictured it perfectly. There was a night where we went out partying somewhere, and we were hungry. I was learning more about your food habits and how you were no longer eating meat and all of those things. And so we were looking, and Marielle too, our friend, and we were looking for falafels. Search for falafels. We went to like some strip where it looked like it was a neighborhood that was a little bit in poverty, perhaps, and it was a bunch of night food eateries. And it was in that moment that even though we were, a bunch of girls from America, like experiencing a whole new continent, um, it was the same. And that part for me, it was like, yeah, like traveling the world is amazing because you learn so much, and then things are also still very much the same.
Definitely agree with you on that. I feel like my every day, my empowerment, even within self, like grows because some of these things are the same. Like
Mhm.
I often have moments where I think it's pretty weird. I don't know if it's a spiritual thing or what's going on. I envision myself in a different country. Like it's deja vu, but it's like I'm here, but I remember something like whether it's a street or a walkway from another country that I visited. And I've been asking myself, like, why? My body feels safe in this space. So my body felt the same as when I was in another place and I can visualize the entire thing.
Mm.
And that it's like, wow, when we're talking about traveling, when we're talking about these different, like these difficult things, what voice is telling us that? Like, what voice is telling me, like, America isn't it, for example? Is it a voice or is it my gut? My whole body tells me America isn't it. But in
Mhm.
those cases, it's like, to your point of things being familiar, our body notices when we're safe, our body notices when we're happy, and those glimpses continue to pop up. So for me, it's like I want to keep searching for that. I want to fulfill every day with that.
Mhm. Wow, that's powerful. So that just made me think about, so I used to be mentored by an Ayurvedic mentor, and she used to teach me a lot about land, how there's feminine and masculine energies in different parts of the world, and our energetic components respond differently to different lands. And so I would imagine for you, having lived and experienced many different like locations in the world, you have a stronger sense of where you find yourself to be most comfortable, probably more intuitively, right? I know we've spoken about that. In my eyes, simple move from New York to Charlotte, even though that was big for me at the time, but the land here in Charlotte, North Carolina has been very healing for me. And so, yeah, I would imagine that on your end, it's that and even more. And again, allowing you to be more in tune with your spirit. So I normally ask individuals on this podcast, what does it mean to be a healthy high performer? I want you to answer, but I will preface it by saying that just from us talking right now, it seems that for you, your greatest sense of alignment is connection to self, your intuitive beingness, and your energetic boundaries to know yourself so well that you're able to take yourself wherever you go, your true self.
Juice, I don't know if I could have said that better myself.
I still want to hear your input. I still want to hear what you think in your, because now we're going to talk about maybe career and stuff like that. So, what do you think it is to be a healthy high performer?
I think, yeah, outside of myself, I think to be a healthy high performer means understanding, accepting, valuing, and loving your true self in a sense where, as you said, you know exactly what you need to do for your truest self, for your highest self in a healthy manner. You are not hiding from vices. You are not a workaholic thinking like, hey, I have to constantly work. As a high achiever, you do have those boundaries and you respect it.
Okay. Slight segue. I think with that being said, because we are high achievers,
Yeah.
there is usually this underlying tone of we're not doing enough. We could always be doing more. And listen, I am all about like crushing it in life. If you know me,
Yeah.
I get high off of that. Like I love it, right? But what you said is also very important. I think when you really love yourself, which is to know yourself, right? When you love someone, you sit down with them, you observe them, you just love their beingness. You could stare at them and just like watch and just love deeper and deeper. So to have that with self is to be unbiased, non-judgmental. And that means that we're really taking the time to learn what it is we want. And sometimes with high performers, the healthy part gets a little complicated or hard to achieve because we don't truly know what it is that we want. And it's a journey, so it's okay. But we get caught up in doing all of it because we are multifaceted and we are high performers. We tend to be good at many things. It's like wonderful. Not many people can say that. So I honor that about ourselves. But at the same time, as we've matured, I've learned that if we have clarity in what it is that we really want and desire and need, this even exchange of energy, what can I give and what can I receive? What am I looking to receive and what medicine am I looking to give at this time? Because it can always change.
Mhm.
When we have clarity in that and alignment, it's like I could be great at many things, but if I focus my energy on two or three things, I could be freaking amazing. And so let's talk about that in your journey, the different places where you told us that you're in education, you've been many, many things. How has that led you and taught you about what it is that you really want to do and what it is that you do now?
Ooh, that's a really good question. All right. Let's go back. So I am Jamaican, and it's always a joke that Jamaicans stay with a job, like we're always working. So for me, growing up, even like with my mother in a single parent home, it was all I saw around me was workers. Like that's just it. So from like 14, I've had at least two, three jobs at one time. Why? Because I got to work. That's what I see. Like I don't know what to do without a job. It drives me a little crazy. I get very anxious, and I didn't know why at the time. So immediately after actually graduating college, I think about a week after I graduated, I moved to Texas and started my Teach for America program, in which I was like, wait, I didn't think probably till like last year, Brianna, you're crazy. You didn't take a break. You didn't take a break in between that. You went from running things on campus to be like, next, new city, new state, new challenge, let's go. Like
Which is
that's
the
just
norm for our
yes.
circle of
It
friends.
is. It is. I noticed that with our friends. We were just like, all right, great. Thanks for this degree. We got to keep it moving. Like,
Mhm.
I wasn't as phased about it. It's like, okay, I don't even know where the degree is now. So when I started teaching is when I actually started to question what is it that I really want to do? Because to be honest, I didn't go into teaching because I loved it at the time. I went in because I majored in communications and I was like, I'm not going to get a job in this right now. Like, looking at the economy. So it just so happened that I actually had a friend who was in the education program at the time, and that shifted it. So when I actually was in front of kids, I felt an immense amount of love and just joy with them. So in that, I taught middle school English and history. And even those subjects alone helped me to dive deeper into stuff that I would talk to my friends about and putting it in a perspective that kids could understand. But also, that was really straining on my heart because I had kids that didn't have homes. I had kids that weren't eating. I had kids that were in gangs. So it was, yes, I am trying to teach. However, this is their reality. This is very, I'm an empath. It was just heartbreaking for me at a certain point. So going through, just continuing to teach, and I would consider just leveling up, I began like being a lead teacher. And in that, it was another challenge of how do I work with people that have been teaching longer than I have? Because these people don't want to listen to me. And I'm also young, beautiful, black, and gifted. Now, the people I'm around, there's not that many that look like me. This is awkward. Again, this is awkward. I feel like I'm teaching myself and rewiring things within me so that I can show up unbiasedly or as much as possible in these spaces. So at that point, I felt I learned enough in Texas. Where can I go next? And that's when I thought, I've always wanted to live abroad. Actually, my first experience abroad was in high school when I went to Japan. And ever since, I was like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something else. Like, I feel it. I don't know what it is, but I need to just try it. I'm a person. I think of something, I want it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to like go back and forth that much about it. So when I decided to go to Dubai, for me, it was I'm deciding to be done with this chaos. I'm excited. I'm excited for something new. I feel like I am just stagnant here. Like it's hurting my heart. I'm not able to grow. I'm still stuck in like the matrix. Let's try something different. So moving to Dubai was definitely a culture shock, as you have seen, like just showing up there. And that made me think of how do I show up for me in this space? Yes, this is completely new, but like, what can I do? So in that, I did enjoy my time teaching in Dubai. However, my aunt had passed away that was really close to me. And during that time, I picked up a drinking habit, which was unbearable. Like I was drinking alcohol like it was water daily, and I hid it very well. Like I would just go through, none of my friends really knew what was going on. It was like, okay, fine. And it wasn't until a friend of mine came to visit me in Dubai and actually drove me to therapy that she was like, yeah, you have to change. Something's not right. So through actually going through therapy and like the stages of grief is when I started to realize even in the career paths that I've chosen, it's more about showing up for someone else before I show up for myself. It's more about giving. I was constantly just giving. I don't like people sad. I was just giving so much energy while I was in a space where I had no idea what was going on with me.
I have a
And
question.
I was not. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing this.
Mm-hmm.
When you went to therapy in Dubai, what was that experience like?
Ooh. It was a great investment. No. In the beginning, I wasn't trying to talk. I have been a person, I don't talk about things. I know that I can hide my emotions very well, and people often see me as the smiley, bubbly person. So they don't really know what's going on. So I think in like those first few sessions, I just sat there.
Mm.
I had a woman who, shout out to Farah, actually worked in the States. So that was really nice. It wasn't a complete culture shock. And maybe after
That's
like the third, yeah, it wasn't a complete culture shock. It was more so like this. I was surprised it was like a spa experience. You had flavored water. It was just like a very welcoming environment. There was a garden that you could go sit in. And I was like, yeah, I still don't trust you. It was
Mm.
still like I felt the environment, but what was going on with me, like in the politics of work and stuff, I was like, I don't know. So those first few sessions, I didn't speak. And I think for maybe like the third one, she was like, okay, you don't want to talk. That's okay. Can I ask you a question? I forget really what she asked me to get me to start talking. And once I started, I just couldn't stop. And I went to her twice a week, actually, at first.
Good.
Yeah, twice a week for a few months while I was in Dubai. And a part of that routine definitely helped. And just being able to see how some of the trauma that I have witnessed growing up in the neighborhood that I did and the situations that I was in, I just kind of put a lid over it. Like I just put it all in the pot, I'm just gonna put a lid over it. And that is what I was trying to escape or get rid of my shadows, that darker stuff that came up. So with talking with her, it really did change everything. Because beforehand, no one I knew at the time actually went to therapy. I mean, I did know a licensed therapist, but other than that, I was like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know who to trust. I don't even know if I trust myself,
Yeah.
actually. So at
Was
that
this
time,
before or after the mindfulness tech program?
this is before.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was a sign. So it was like I did have some of those tools. And this was actually in my second year in Dubai. So I was debating whether I was going to stay in Dubai again or not during the time that I was going through therapy and grief and all these things. And with her, I remember her being like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I know why you're here talking with me, but like, why are you in Dubai?" Because I had shared with her, like, there are some, I feel like I'm not able to be my full self in Dubai. Like, I'm just not. And with my own experiences, with my sexuality, with all these things that I like to live, it just wasn't the place. And she's like, "Okay, so what are you going to do about it?" I was like, "I thought I paid you to tell me." Like, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. And it was then that I realized I need to stop. I need to stop just trying to move forward and trying to do everything. And I've been checking off all these boxes. I've accomplished so much. I need to freeze. So that's when I quit my job and I decided to move to Thailand because I randomly went there traveling. And when I landed in Chiang Mai, Spirit was like, "You're supposed to live here." So 6 months later, that's what happened. And during that time, I thought I was going to continue teaching just more, lower scale in Thailand. And it didn't work out like that. And so that was the first time in years that I had time to focus on me, to really look at what do I like to do? What do I not like? Like, really, what are my interests? What are my struggles? I didn't realize that because I went from college straight into the classroom, I didn't have that time to discover me, to really just bask in all of those things. Because as a teacher, I'm front screen, I'm on the script. And going from an environment where I have deaf ed students, I have, all these students that are dealing for or coming from like low socioeconomic homes, to then a huge difference of having students that own the school, own Toyota, like they're showing up in Ferraris and stuff. I never took a break to even acknowledge the cultural differences that I was experiencing until 4.5 years later when I was in Thailand and I had a minute to explore. So even being in Thailand actually brought me to where I am today. Of one, when I was in Thailand, I became a Muay Thai instructor real quick, a yoga teacher, a nutritionist. I still worked online, an education consultant. And I was like, I love all this. It's cool. I started Binu Wellness, my wellness brand. Yeah. And in that, I realized like I still want to help people. I know my purpose is to educate, however, in what capacity. And so my time in Thailand was looking at how are you educating? Like, what are you doing?
Do you ever get tired of talking and talking around in circles and never truly alleviating the problem long term? To retell my story time and time again. I'm tired. I'm tired of letting somebody in once again. I'm tired of having them have to understand my story once again, only for me to get to the point deep, deep, deep down inside of things I already know. Things I've worked on for years healing. I've done my part. I've done the assignments. I've done the talking. I've committed to therapy. I've even graduated from therapy from time to time. And yes, talking about it has helped. It has helped me tremendously. But at some point, we get down to the root of the cause. I'm still suffering symptomatically from the aftermath of those experiences. Perhaps you've been going to therapy for some time now, and you may have even graduated, quote unquote, have seen your therapist less and less, and then something comes back up in the mix, and you find yourself going back to therapy regularly. There's actually nothing wrong with that. That is usually the trajectory of someone's healing journey. What if I was here to tell you that there's another way to heal? That talking about our issues is only half the game. That the other half of our healing energetically and physically needs to happen within the body somatically. Talking can only do so much. which is why I'm so excited to present to you guys one-to-one elevation somatic coaching. Let's get to a place of embodiment, working within the body to alleviate the stressors and past traumas that still hold an effect on us today symptomatically. Get out of your mind and into the body, into a place of rest and relaxation, or rest and digest, as we like to call it. I ensure that we do the somatic work first before we dive into therapeutic coaching. Join us as we go through 6 months of transformative healing. Let's embark on your somatic journey. Let's break free of your limiting negative beliefs. Let's embrace the self-love and set boundaries. Let's bring harmony to the mind, body, and soul and elevate with spiritual rituals and manifestation. Ready to step into a life of resiliency, clarity, and abundance? Visit our website, www.julisaedwards.com, to learn more and embark on a transformative journey. Break free from the chains of emotional instability and self-doubt, and embrace the pleasure of inner peace, self-love, and empowerment. Once again, that's www.julisaedwardscounseling.com. You always knew you wanted to help people. You began as a teacher. You are an extremely empathetic being, and sometimes that was a lot for you. And you had to take time with yourself, truly just take a breath, take a beat to really get to know yourself, your wants, your desires, which gave you clarity into moving once again. Um, and that led you back into education, right? It's just with a more matured perspective.
Yeah, very much so. I feel like it is needed. I do love the kids. I'm so happy to be the favorite aunt. I enjoy that so much. And however, I even think of just how can I continue to help others? How can I continue to educate and not lose self like I did before? Because if I'm in something, I'm 100% invested. And so even at the time, I was giving, I think you might have even said it, I was giving all the things that I was doing at least 70%. So I was being an education consultant, sure. I was a yoga instructor. Like I wasn't giving it 100. I was doing good. Like, as high achievers, we can do the bare minimum and others will not notice because of what we normally do. And then we're beating ourselves up like, it could be better.
Oh my God. Quick side note. We can be doing the bare minimum, and it may be okay in other people's eyes, but in our hearts and our souls, not only are we beating ourselves up, but we're not aligned because it's not being fully driven by passion. So we're just doing busy work, and it's great for the masses, but I'm not happy. Hmm.
That has been the thing. I realized for some time, even abroad, I've just been doing busy work. And it hasn't been until the last year that I have decided to step out of this idea of needing to be busy all the time, of needing to juggle 45 things at once. What is the one thing that I want to do that brings me joy? Which is being a pleasure educator. And in that, for me, I have looked at and seen just how we as people look at pleasure. More so, how women of color are denied pleasure. And I'm not talking about just sexual pleasure, I'm talking about the emotional, I'm talking about food. It goes beyond. So for me, it has been, I've had the pleasure of losing myself to find myself.
Wow.
Yeah. How can I help others live a more pleasurable life? A more holistic way of living is my now. So sorry for the long-winded journey we went through, but yes.
No, it's beautiful. So now you're a pleasure educator, fully and learning how to own that new role that you have just discovered.
Yes.
Right? Even though we can probably argue that you've been educating others on it for a long time, it just wasn't maybe in your brain called pleasure educating. But I mean, I'll share my experience with you. You taught me to, when I think of pleasure besides sex, I think of food. And and I think about, I think when you hear pleasure educator, I think the masses will most definitely think of sex first. Let's
Mhm.
just be real, right? Which is, I mean, it's part of it.
Yeah.
And then from you and you've taught me so much about healthy eating and nutrition and all the things. And even as your friend in close proximity, I've been able to gather new insights and information and education literally based off of your lifestyle in Thailand, and all the things. And then you coming to graciously visit us, which I'm so grateful for. Your presence alone has like slowly but surely sprinkled in this new wave within inside me that's now become. And I'm so grateful for that. And one of them is through food. And I think about food because of your help and guidance and input as juicy. I'm someone who loves crunchy food. Like I love I usually go for chips and things of that sort.
Hmm.
But then realizing what I really, really love is raw veggies, the crunch, purple onions, red peppers, as you know, I was reflecting when you were here, you know, red peppers, and it's the act of having the crunch and also having the satisfying replenishment hydration within those vegetables. And this I've known this about myself for a while, but I have my the people that my mentors in the past had educated me that I have pizza energy, fire energy,
Yep.
and so I need a lot, and I can see that I need a lot of water hydration, and it's like the crunch, the hydration, and the veggies, like the water, the tea, like all of it, and that has been part of your impact on me.
Thank you, Jules.
Thank you. It's been phenomenal. And so, okay, so where do you see yourself? I mean, you're already doing things in this pleasure educator role. Where does your heart want to go from here with that?
Oh, where does my heart want to go from here? My heart wants to continue to have open conversations and transformative workshops. Like, I want to empower people to challenge societal taboos, like, really, and the stigma that's surrounding pressure. My mission at this moment is really to dismantle the barriers that we have, like that are stopping us from fulfilling or living a fulfilling life by fostering a safe and non-judgmental space for exploring such things as sensuality, relationships, and most importantly, self-acceptance. Because even as you said, when you think of pleasure, the first thing you think of is sex. Like, sure, yeah, we can get there. However, it really starts with self. And we often say self love. I'm more so on self acceptance. Yeah, we may love ourselves, but do we truly accept all parts of us? How? What does
Mhm.
that look like? So for me, it is continuing to build on that, to find spaces to collaborate with others. Like I'm really committed to uplifting marginalized voices, particularly women of color, and addressing the challenges that we face in the landscape of pleasure, because pleasure looks differently everywhere. And yeah, the aim is to constantly just break down barriers, get more involved with other sex educators to see how does this look? How can we all work together to really change this, to change the narrative, to actually call my power back and help others in doing so.
Absolutely beautiful. That is a mission with passion through self experience, self knowingness, and now aligned action. So much more and powerful than simply just doing busy work or having the notion that, like, I'm good at this thing and but still not having direct clarity. And anyone who's there right now, like, that's okay. Obviously you had to go through your journey to get to where you are now, but this new title that you were at one point maybe scared or fearful to really own, in my eyes, and I think you're seeing it this way too now, is like this is the only thing that you can be right now. Like it has to be this, and not even a pressure filled way. It's like it's my duty, it's my calling to do this at this time for my people.
Definitely agree with you. And I'm just like giddy because even as you say it, I get so excited. Like, yes, spirit, I hear you. Signs of the universe. I got y'all. Finally, I'm listening, listening. So I agree. Hey, Smokey, I agree with that. I feel honored for the fact that I do have supportive community. Like you, like we've discussed this numerous times before, and it has been your supportive being like, Brie, I mean, this is what you do. Stop making it more difficult. Like this is what we do. And I feel like as high achievers, it's still not good. It's still not it. So having to take a moment to be like, wait, this is it. You are doing it. Everything led you up until this place. Why do you need to do anything more at all? Why do you need to add this stress of trying to do 45 other things, especially being an entrepreneur? Because as you know, Juice, it is a constant struggle. It's an everyday struggle to really be your own number one supporter.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's the difficult part. There's many difficult parts of entrepreneurship, but one of them is most definitely believing in ourselves when we have these windful changes with our intuition. And it's like, fuck, like I just got comfortable here. People now know me for this thing. And now I'm gonna go here? How the hell am I gonna do that? And it's
Oh,
that
yeah.
journey of like, well, only you're the one driving the boat. This is your brand. Your brand is just attached to who you are as a person. The beautiful part about business is that it gets to grow with you. Right? So
Mm.
so many gems that you have brought for us. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I want to ask you, girly, because a lot of our audience comes here for motivation and insight and just hopefully in their own version, like a 1 2 3 of like, how can I start doing that for myself? And they connect with different people that I interview. And so I know for a fact you're speaking to someone who's like, holy crap, I needed to hear that. And I also want to hear and just be real. It's a part of who I am as a person. What's actually happening with us right now that maybe isn't so easy and fun, and maybe a little bit hard. So, what are you experiencing right now, either personally or professionally within business or whatever, that's been causing a little bit of a rift within inside of you at this time?
Ew. For me, the rift inside of me has been more so the fact that I've been moving, like I've moved a lot real quick in the past, what, since I saw you, I've just been moving around a lot. So, past few months, I have not been in one space. And for me, if I'm not still, my mind is the same way. So, one struggle is actually being able to connect with the people that I want to really impact. Because honestly, I don't have the energy. When people are like, hey, you live abroad, that's such a great life. Sure. It also comes with many challenges and it is draining.
Mm.
Yes, we may make it look good, but I have seen that I have been struggling with, again, talking like I am now to the masses. Why? Because energetically, I'm not all the way there, as well as still I have this lingering, kind of like a tail, I'm going to call it. The lingering thing, as you said, of like, you've done all these things in this space and now you want to do this. It's like, I know I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I need to put both feet in creating this tribe more so that I speak of. So it is really the hurdle of being consistent with myself right now. Consistently showing up for me, as well as consistently showing up in spaces where people actually want to listen. Because I have been on this whole, I am no longer trying to force people to do something they don't want to do. I felt like I was doing that as a teacher, felt like I was doing that as a coach. Right now, I just want to educate you. Here are the tools. You can do what you want with it.
Okay. You don't have to force anyone when we're in aligned energy. And I feel so, yes, I experience it too as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, we have to broadcast our message to the world. And to broadcast your message, you have to be very confident in what it is that you are teaching, speaking, inspiring, selling, marketing, all the things. And yeah, if you're energetically 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's not that like, oh, people will know, it's that like the energy will show. So the world only responds to energy. We humans only respond to energy. So it's not really about, trust me, I've been through this too in my own branding and stuff like, how can I get in front of the right people and da da da. And it's like, that is a part of it, yes. But on the energetic side of things, it's really you. So there was, okay, so even I recognized as we were talking, I was like, oh my God, some like super on the side, like inside thoughts that my brain always has when I'm doing something. It was like, we're having such a beautiful conversation, and Brie is like, expressing herself so well. Like, these are literally my inside thoughts. And then it came to me, I was like, Jalissa, just do more of this. Like, you have beautiful friends who have beautiful stories to share, and we are all healthy high performers, so as you were talking, it was like genius, Joseph. Just like keep interviewing your friends. This is exactly what the people need. Like, literally, right? As you were expressing and telling your story and the therapy and the different places that you lived in, like you're just like your story. And then I was like, whoa, breeze and flow right now. She's so effortlessly sharing her story. And even as you were talking, my brain was like, I wonder why that is. And I'm like, oh, well, she feels comfortable with me and I feel comfortable with her. So I'm able to interview her in this nice flowing state. Right. So I think I say all of that because comfortability is where you will express yourself best. And the whole notion of full circle, no matter where you go, there you are, it doesn't matter who you're in front of. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you are comfortable with yourself and you have confidence in your message that this is an important mission and offering that is being asked of you at this time, then it's seamless. You don't have to think about what's the best way to say it, what's the best way to market it. You were just speaking from the heart, and that alone was selling. So I guess the key here is to find out how can we get Bree to feel comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. One of my thoughts as you were talking was, I think it would be good for you to invest in a mentor. I think someone to, and you, that'll be a journey of your own. I think someone that you align with energetically and that's a master at what you're doing and what you want to do, and that can take you to greater lengths faster. I think a great mentor will never make you feel like you need them per se, but their energetic interaction with you will give you that confidence and comfortability that you can feel within yourself. And you also have the added bonus of like, they're exactly where you want to be. And so, even if you're tripping and falling on this journey of self discovery as you're doing something new, you're still succeeding. Emotionally, it can feel kind of like a lot. I've been through it every time with any of my mentors. It's like, oh God, am I doing the right thing? But to the outside world, it's like you're killing it. And that's really because I've had mentors like even as I'm falling, I'm reaching for their hand, and I'm in full vulnerability that like I need you. I want your guidance at this time, and I'm okay with that fact and notion that I do better when someone's clapping for me. I do better when someone is uh, able to take that time to sit with me in my inner thoughts and my inner insecurities, which is comes up for all of us, especially in entrepreneurship. So I think that if you can find your person that you feel comfortable with, that's so important that you feel comfortable with, and that's doing something in the industry of where you're trying to be. I think that would be like a match made in heaven.
Thank you, Jude.
Mhm.
Have an interesting thing real quick. You said that 48, 48. So I'm gonna look at that later. No,
Okay.
however, I love that you say that, and I have invested in mentors and coaches, and even for myself, it has been pause. Just throw all the darts first. Like that's what I've been telling myself. Even as you said, being comfortable, I found myself thriving more with being uncomfortable. Because if I get comfortable, I'm a little content. So right now, I've given myself like a deadline of how many darts are we going to throw out until this mentor finds us or we find them, because the field that I'm interested in is not, it's not very public. It's public, but it's not like hey, I can go around the corner and like find these people. So it has been a fun adventure of one, knowing that a mentor will, I will find this. I've sought out them before. And also, until I can do so, I found that having accountability partners has helped as well. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that, like, as a high achiever, that being something like, okay, if someone else were listening to this and they're like, hey, I need help, invest in a mentor, hey, I don't know your funds, maybe try and ask your friends. Like, Juice, you got some beautiful friends. How can we have accountability with each other? How could we support each other? So that's more so just, I hear your message. Anyone that's listening, if you're also like, hey, I feel the same, or I'm just like, I don't really know what's going on. How can you create that accountability? Or who could you go to if the funds are not there, if you're not at that point?
Mm, mm. Okay. Receiving that message. Yes. Yes, yes, I can agree. Yes. Accountability is most definitely, mm, even as I'm talking, see, I'm real time, you guys are seeing I'm pushing my wants aside, right? Because in my heart, I'm like, I think this is gonna be the thing that can help you, but I'm also listening to what you're saying. So let's get the accountability from our inner circle and friends. Yes. Um, Maybe a belief of yours is that mentorship has to be expensive.
It was. For me, it's not, it's looking at how much have I already invested in mentors and what am I doing with that knowledge.
Okay,
That has,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
that has been my thing. Like,
I
girl,
respect that. I
girl.
respect that. Okay, okay. So that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen the return of investment on your
Yes,
investment.
just within self. That's why I'm like, I do receive that message, and I definitely agree. I've been challenging myself to put it out there, kind of thing.
Hmm. Okay, here's some homework.
All right. I've always got a pen and a paper.
Yes, here's some homework. Let's take accountability
Hmm.
and use it as an opportunity to look inward and look at all the mentors that you have, even school, like teaching, like being in like at Pace University, like even schooling. Look at all the forms of investments that you've made in the past, and I want you to assess honestly how you showed up to each of those investments and how your spirit was when investing. So I say that because I've also had my fair share of investments that didn't work for me. But just as me and my story, I can be honest in saying that when I have one coach in particular who they're amazing. But when we worked together, I didn't really succeed like I thought I would be or I would have. And in reflection, it had nothing to do with their work. It was I wasn't aligned spiritually and mentally at that time to work with that person. Not to say that like if I work with them now, it would be great. It was more so my insecurities led me to purchase that mentorship. Whereas now I purchase mentorships from a place of abundance and clarity. I actually speak about that on a solo episode about how I've matured as an investor in my company and business because it used to come from insecurities where I lack this and I need someone to help me get to from point A to point B. And now it's, I know exactly what it is that I'm doing. I would like aid in this section, and I get to tell my mentor exactly what I want out of this. In the past, it was like, what do you do? What do you offer? What's your program like? Oh, you offer X, Y, and Z. I need that. Cool. Now it's like, oh, you do all that jazz. That's popping. Let me have a consultation call with you so that you and I can interview each other, and I get to interview you as my potential coach and asking like, this is where I'm at in life and this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're energetically aligned to work together at this time, and why?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different energetic exchange. And that's why I asked you. I don't my ego, and I'm trying to be conscious of this, my ego is definitely like I'm a fan of mentorship, even knowing that again I've invested in mentors that didn't work out for me, and later on in reflection I've learned it had nothing to do with them and everything to do with me. So reflect on your investments, all of them, from like young, maybe even sports when you were a child and like coaching and stuff like that, or like review it all because humans, we're the same. And, we tend to act in the same manner. And if we can study ourselves in that way, we begin to pick up more knowledge about ourselves. And so, like, what is your buyer behavior, Bree?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you show up to investments? Energetically, mentally, spiritually. And should you, I would leave it up to the universe, should you go down that path again of investing in somebody, how will this time be different? Because the only thing that I have a slight against when it comes to accountability with friends, I love us. And me and you, we talk and we have accountability. And I think that's wonderful. But it's the same reason why I can't go to a friend to talk to what I need to talk to about my therapist. How's that landing?
Agreed and received. I feel that. I'm gonna do the homework.
Um,
So, like right after this, I'm gonna go with my notebook. I have a journal today, and actually take a moment to look at that because I don't think I've looked at my buyer behavior more so.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
sure, energetically how I feel. And then I also took a quick second because the numbers were messing with me and you and I be on the same page. However, when you had said invest in a mentor at 48, well, I don't know why that came up, but pretty much it's a sign that the angels are saying that I'm protected, we're protected, and we're about to enter a period of abundance and prosperity, and everything will fall into place. So I find that quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so that only amplifies my previous thought before, like
Yes.
we're in fear that we couldn't afford something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for your honesty. Yeah, you see how much we just like
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Yes, I
Jesus,
would
I was coming through.
argue
Jesus.
one last gem. Right now, what is the cost of inaction?
Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
just something to sit on too. Okay, wonderful. I love it. Thank you, Bree. This has been an amazing conversation. As like, duh, what else would have come of this? Um, one last final message that you can give to our listeners, girly. Intuitively feel into what they may be feeling, or if you have a message to share it's for this exact person, what can you speak into for this person that's maybe struggling or having a hard time? What would be your message to them?
My message would be to sit with self, to move with discomfort, move in and out. Um, don't just don't do the worry wheel, as we would call it. Don't uh, don't argue with yourself. Don't put yourself down. So if you right now are just struggling with being a high achiever or just struggling, sit with self. Take a moment, go sit in nature and breathe. Like, you don't need to know all the answers and you don't need to be doing a damn thing right now. You just listen to a beautiful podcast. Great job. Let me clap for you. You've accomplished a lot today. Like, if you're
Yeah.
feeling stuck, go on an adventure. It could be an adventure within the mind, within self. It can be outdoors, whatever that looks like for you. Get up, move this body, move this energy.
I love
That's
that.
what came right now.
Beautiful. Where can they find you, girly, if they want to connect with you on socials? Where are you?
You can find me on the Instagrams at Be New Wellness, so BENU Wellness, and they will see that there is more pleasurable education loading shortly. So, I mean, come on, join the club. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of, I want to say, colorful conversations and perspectives. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us, Bree. This was a beautiful conversation, and
Thank
I can't
you.
wait for everyone to absorb and really feel into this conversation. So, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Juice.
Imagine a life where overwhelm is replaced by inner peace, where emotional instability transforms into emotional regulation, and where avoidance gives way to acceptance. Introducing one-to-one somatic elevation coaching, a transformative journey for those who are ready to transcend their current reality and embrace their true potential. I will help you heal those inner wounds that have been holding you back for so long. You'll gain the tool to embrace a new understanding of yourself, unlocking the power to create mental freedom. Life's magic is waiting for you once you elevate your inner work. As you shed the weight of unhealed trauma, you'll find yourself clearer, lighter, and open to the universe's whispers, a clear line of communication. Ready to step into a life of resiliency, clarity, and abundance? Visit our website, www.julisaedwards.com, to learn more and embark on a transformative journey. Break free from the chains of emotional instability and self-doubt, and embrace the pleasure of inner peace, self-love, and empowerment. Once again, that's www.julisaedwardscounseling.com. Thank you for tuning into Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive future episodes packed with valuable insights. Remember to follow us on social media at thehealthy.highperformer for more inspiration, tips, and updates. If you found this episode helpful, we'd appreciate it if you could share it with your network and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us as we continue to empower high performers like you. Until next time, keep mastering your mindset and thriving as a healthy high performer.